There is something special about destruction in video games. Over the weekend, I gave the finals a try after a recommendation from my brother, and while I only played a couple of matches before the closed beta ended, what really stood out to me was the physics-based destruction system in which windows, walls, and entire buildings could be turned into rubble. Over the span of my first 2 games, I noticed how dramatically the environment changed within the course of a single match. In my first game, it was a gunfight in a large house, which quickly turned into a smoky arena with broken walls, windows, and entire floors missing. In the second, a gunfight through a high-rise ended with the top floor of the structure collapsing on top of my player character, giving me cover to survive a flanking enemy team. Destructible environments are such an interesting mechanic, not only because of the spectacle in which they offer, but also in the way they can change the course of a game, opening up flanking opportunities, cutting off enemy teams, or giving you time to revive a downed teammate. Destruction in gaming is impressive to say the least. My earliest memory of destruction in gaming was the original gameplay trailer for Battlefield 4. The mere sight of the tower slowly collapsing was enough to make me immediately jump and pre-order the game. The scale of these destruction events was incredible at the time, and even today is extremely impressive. These Levolution events weren't physics-based, but instead preset animations, yet they still completely changed the way I viewed the potential of a sandbox environment. But this was 2013, and unfortunately, while the technology has exponentially evolved, we have not really seen it implemented in many meaningful ways. Obviously, there are exceptions, games like Teardown, and most recently the finals, but the truth is that large studios aren't willing to take the time to implement these systems. Simulating an environment where anything can be destroyed puts quite the strain on the average setup and is a struggle to effectively optimize. It takes a staggering amount of extra man-hours to implement solid destruction physics, meaning that most developers will simply turn their focus into other areas of development. It becomes all the more disappointing when looking at a game like Red Faction Guerrilla, released all the way back in 2009, with a true physics-based destruction system in which every man-made building could be destroyed. Touting a stress-based destruction system, the engine is constantly evaluating the environment, checking for stress and strength. This system was so ahead of its time, the map developers had to hire architects to ensure they were building structures properly, as every piece of each building had to be handcrafted individually, then fit together in a way which would not affect the structural integrity. But I think we can all agree that this extra effort was well worth it. The possibilities for physics-based destruction in a video game is near limitless, creating near infinite replayability. Imagine a Superman game in which you could fly straight through buildings, level entire city blocks, or leave craters as you blast into the atmosphere. The groundwork for a game in this manner has already been established with Megaton Rainfall, which is a Superman simulator in all but name, made by a single developer, and notably lacking in gameplay to keep one engaged for more than a couple hours. Where Megaton Rainfall truly shines is in its destructible environments, flying around the earth at supersonic speeds, only to ruin an entire city of lifeless NPCs' day, is truly something special. Just imagine where a large studio with a massive budget could take this concept. While this large-scale destruction is impressive, destruction doesn't necessarily have to be large-scale to be impactful. Rainbow Six Siege doesn't have the massive, world-altering Levolution events of the Battlefield series. The destruction is on a much smaller scale, yet the results are just as game-changing. A good team in Siege will use impact grenades to create rotate holds, smash chunks of the wall to make angles, and place strategic barricades to force enemies into traps. Control, Jedi Survivor, and Max Payne 3 are a couple more examples of these systems implemented on a smaller scale. For example, in Jedi Survivor, you can force push certain barricades and destroy pottery scattered throughout the environment, but you can't really cause damage outside of these scripted events. In Max Payne 3, you can watch as bullets kick up stacks of paper and tear through walls, but there will be no lasting damage to the building itself. In Control, you can pick up desks, chairs, and debris and hurl them at enemies, but you won't really observe any major changes to the environment. My point being that destruction, even when implemented in minor ways, can can still completely change the feel of a game, adding an extra layer of interactivity to the experience. Destructible environments present so many opportunities for developers and players alike, yet unfortunately, it seems that many studios are hesitant to implement this mechanic due to the technical struggles associated, particularly in multiplayer games. Yet the technology is there. The finals proves just how game-changing a well-implemented destruction system can be for overall hype and marketability of a game. Destructible environments are the future of gaming, opening up a whole new way to engage and immerse the player. I just hope developers are taking notes.